Happy Valentine's Day. I feel like we should burst out in song. Love is in the air, or something like that. Or maybe you're a bit down on love, so today your theme song might be Love Stinks. The love we have for each other can be wonderful. Love is in the air. Or it can be challenging. Love stinks. I sometimes wonder if God thinks about us in the same way, that sometimes we're really easy to love and other times it's a challenge. I don't know because I'm certainly not God, but I can tell you this. The Bible assures us God is love. And God's love goes beyond anything Valentine's Day can offer to anyone. God loves us with an enduring love. Psalm 136 reinforces this thought over and over again. Psalm 136, verses 1 through 9. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to him who alone does mighty miracles. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to him who made the heavens so skillfully. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to him who placed the earth among the waters. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to him who made the heavenly lights. His faithful love endures forever. The sun to rule the day. His faithful love endures forever. And the moon and stars to rule the night. His faithful love endures forever. It's like God is trying to remind us of something. I believe he's trying to remind us that, yes, he is really big. He's the one who skillfully made all things, and he's powerful. He's so big that it's really hard for us to fathom him completely, but he's also a personal God. He's close. He loves us. He loves us with a covenant love, a relationship love, an enduring love. However, if he's always close, why does he sometimes feel distant? We're going to be looking at this question, where is God? Why, if he's close, does he sometimes feel distant? We're going to be looking at this question this month over the next couple of weeks while we're in the book of Exodus. But first, welcome to Holley Church Online. I've got a surprise Valentine's Day gift for you, for everyone. So hang with me until the end of the service. I'll let you know what it is toward the end of the service. And thanks for being here. And if you want to show me some love today, give me a heart in the comments there. Or maybe let me know what your favorite love song is or anti-love song is. After you do that, please take a moment to fill out your connection card. You'll find your connection card at Holley Church Online. Just click on the connection card tab when you're there, and it'll open up a brand new page, and you won't miss a thing. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, just follow the instructions on the screen. If this is your first time with us at Holley Church, we're so glad you're here, and I'd love to give you this gift, send this out to you. It's a book co-written by myself called Unshakable, and all you need to do to receive your free copy is fill out your connection card today, and we'll get this sent out to you. Now take a moment to fill out your connection card, even if you're watching this later in the week while the worship team leads us in worship, and then I'll be back with today's message.
To seek your face, we know you're close. Let your presence fill this place. The world is a desert, dry and thirsty. Your love is the answer, full of mercy. Give us your eyes to see the hurting. Bring us back to life. Revival, hearts on fire. Holy Spirit, rain down, change us from the inside, singing, oh, hey, oh, 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 hey, oh. Shine find, break the chains. Let your glory fill the sky. The world is a desert, dry and thirsty. Your love is the answer, full of mercy. Give us your eyes to see the hurting. Bring us back to life. Revival, hearts on fire. Holy Spirit, rain down, changes from the inside to me. Oh, hey, oh, 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 hey, oh, oh. Revival, hands held higher. Holy Spirit, rain down, changes from the inside to me. Oh, hey, oh, oh, we need revival. Send revival fire, send revival fire. Fill this place, fill this place. Send revival fire, send revival fire. Fill this place, fill this place. Send revival fire, send revival fire. Fill this place, fill this place. Revival, hearts on fire. Holy Spirit, rain down, changes from the inside, singing. Oh, hey, oh, 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 hey, oh. Revival, hands held higher. Holy Spirit, rain down, changes from the inside, singing. Oh, hey, oh, oh, we need revival.
He was born into a family very low on the economic scale, super low. You wouldn't know that looking at him now. Now you would see him as part of a very wealthy family of royalty. And his status, his wealth, which he had both, all came through a series of very fortunate events for him. He did know who his birth family was and where he came from, and he knew what his economic status would be if not for that almost miraculous series of events that plucks him from poverty and places him into this position of wealth and power. But even with all the perks he has in life, he believes that there's more for him. More than just money, more than just fame, more than just power. He is saved from death for something greater, he believes. And this stirs within him a restlessness which is about ready to take a dark turn. The man is Moses. And how did he arrive at this place from poverty to wealth and at this time now in his life where it's about to be dramatically changed as this dark turn takes place? Well, we have to travel back a bit to understand why Moses is at this turning point in his life. Back to our book of the month from last month, the book of Genesis, where God appears to Abraham. You can read about Abraham beginning in Genesis chapter 12. God promises Abraham that he and his wife Sarah will have a son. And eventually, Abraham will have many descendants, and ultimately, one of them will bless the entire world. We now know that descendant who will bless the entire world is Jesus. After many years of waiting, Abraham and Sarah do have a son, Isaac. Isaac and his wife, Rebekah, have twin boys, Esau and Jacob. Jacob is the twin who receives the blessing, and it will be through his family that the promise given to Abraham will be fulfilled. Jacob has 12 sons. One of them, Joseph, is sold into slavery by his brothers who are jealous of him because dad favors Joseph so much. Joseph ends up a slave in Egypt, but it's at just the right time. It's amazing how God's timing works out. When the Hyksos, now that's not how it looks like when you spell it, but that's how you pronounce it, kind of fun to say. When the Hyksos dynasty begins to rule over Egypt is when Joseph arrives there. Now this is very fortunate for Joseph. You might even say it's a God thing, because the Hyksos people, they're a nomadic people from Canaan, where Joseph had been living before he's sold as a slave in Egypt. And they invade Egypt, and they become rulers over it. And this is why Joseph is ultimately, God takes him from slavery to this point, and it's why Joseph is ultimately able to become second in command over all of Egypt, which would have been very unlikely to happen if native Egyptians had been ruling at the time. This position Joseph has allows him not only to save the nation of Egypt from starvation. There's a severe famine taking place there and all throughout the land surrounding it. It also allows him to save his family, who could have easily died of starvation in the land of Canaan. Exodus chapter 1, verses 1 through 8. These are the names of the sons of Israel. That is Jacob. The guy who had 12 sons, Jacob, God eventually changes his name to Israel. These are the names of the sons of Israel who moved to Egypt with their father, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. In all, Jacob had 70 descendants in Egypt, including Joseph, who was already there. In time, Joseph and all of his brothers died, ending that entire generation. But their descendants, the Israelites, had many children and grandchildren. In fact, they multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled the land. Eventually, a new king came to power in Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. This new king was the Egyptians coming back into power after defeating the Hyksos invaders who had been ruling. Exodus chapter 1, verses 9 through 10. He, this new king, this new Pharaoh, said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are more numerous and powerful than we are. Let us deal shrewdly with them, otherwise they will multiply further. And if war breaks out, they may join our enemies, fight against us, and leave the country." Do you remember where Joseph and his brothers had been living before they came to Egypt? Do you remember where the Hyksos people came from who invaded Egypt? They both came from Canaan. Now the Israelites, Jacob's descendants, were not Canaanites, but they both came from the same area, so the Pharaoh doesn't want to risk these two forces joining together to take over Egypt again. His solution? Exodus chapter 1, verse 11. So the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves. They appointed brutal slave drivers over them, hoping to wear them down with crushing labor, hoping to keep them so busy they don't have time for baby making. It doesn't work. Exodus chapter 1, verse 12. The more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more the Israelites multiplied and spread, and the more alarmed the Egyptians became. The Pharaoh is so alarmed that he calls the Hebrew. Now, Hebrew is just another word for Israelite. It's used of the descendants of Jacob/Israel. The Pharaoh calls for the Hebrew midwives. Midwives help mothers have babies. Shivra and Pua, and tells them, kill all the Hebrew baby boys. Now, why did he think they would do that? Kill babies, just because he said, kill all the baby boys. He is worshiped as a god. He considers himself to be a god. He would never dream that someone would not just automatically obey his command. Exodus chapter 1, verse 17. But the midwives feared God, capital G, God, and did not do as the king of Egypt had commanded them, but let the boys live. These are two of the bravest women you'll find in all of history. Your ancestors in the faith. They defy a God. Pharaoh finds the boys, they're still living, so he calls the midwives before him. He still can't even consider that they're simply just disobeying his command. They truly are, as Jesus commands us to be, wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Exodus chapter 1, verses 19 through 20. The midwife said to Pharaoh, "The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before a midwife can get to them." So God was good to the midwives, and the people multiplied and became very numerous. Since the midwives feared God, he gave them families. So what's Pharaoh going to do about his Hebrew problem? Exodus 1:22. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people: "Throw every newborn Hebrew boy into the Nile River, but you may let the girls live." He gives them permission to commit murder. A government official gives permission to commit murder. The Bible doesn't tell us how many Hebrew boys died in this way. I'm sure most parents tried to protect them as best they could, but I know some wouldn't be able to save them. Moses, born into this situation, is literally marked for death. His mom comes up with a desperate plan. Exodus chapter 2, verses 3 through 10. But when she, this is Moses' mother, could no longer hide him, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with asphalt and pitch. She placed the child in it and set it among the reeds by the bank of the Nile. Now think about the risk she's taking here. She's taking her baby boy and she's placing him in the Nile River, the very place that Pharaoh says to throw Hebrew baby boys so they'll drown to death. Then his sister stood at a distance in order to see what would happen to him. Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe at the Nile while her servant girls walked along the riverbank. Seeing the basket among the reeds, she sent her slave girl to get it. When she opened it, she saw the child, a little boy, crying. She felt sorry for him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew boys." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Should I go and call a woman from the Hebrews to nurse the boy for you?" "Go," Pharaoh's daughter told her. So the girl went and called the boy's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse him for me, and I will pay your wages." So the woman took the boy and nursed him. When the child grew older, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses because she said, "I drew him out of the water." Think of all the miracles taking place here. Pharaoh's daughter, her dad said, "Kill all the Hebrew baby boys." Pharaoh's daughter disobeys her dad because she falls in love with this little Hebrew baby boy that she finds. She doesn't kill him. Instead, she saves his life and makes him her son. Now, that must have been really hard for Moses' mother. Her son's alive. She did get to nurse him until he was weaned. But once that happened, she had to take him and give him to another woman to raise as her son. Moses is raised as royalty with all the perks that entails. The best food, the best clothing, the best education. Many believe Moses was destined to become Pharaoh. Puts a lot more meaning behind these words we find in Hebrews chapter 11, verses 24 through 26. It was by faith that Moses, when he grew up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to share the oppression of God's people instead of enjoying the fleeting pleasures of sin. He thought it was better to suffer for the sake of Christ than to own the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking ahead to his great reward. Moses' life takes this dark turn I just talked about earlier. When he goes to see his people, the Hebrew people, they live in a certain part of Egypt, and while he's there, he witnesses an Egyptian beating a Hebrew man. Moses' anger builds and then it just boils over. And he looks around to see if anybody's watching. He doesn't see anybody, and he kills the Egyptian, burying him in the sand. The man he saves must have talked about this a lot, because the next day, Moses is again visiting his people. I think Moses knows deep down inside that God does want him to lead these people. But Moses has gone about it in the wrong way, and he's going to have to learn some humility. Moses sees two Hebrew men fighting, and he goes over to them, and he talks to the one who started the fight, and he says, "Why are you beating your fellow Hebrew?" The man turns to Moses, snarling, and says, "Who made you a judge and a prince over us? Are you going to kill me like you killed the Egyptian yesterday?" Moses is shocked. He realizes Pharaoh's going to hear about this. He's going to want to kill me, and that's exactly what happened. Pharaoh hears about it, orders for Moses to be killed, but Moses has fled the country. He makes it safely to another country. The man who believed he was destined for great things is now living in a foreign country and working as a shepherd. All this happening to Moses ties directly in to our question, where is God? And we'll return to Moses next week. But today, I wanted to bring us right where we're at. Moses has fled Egypt, but the rest of his family, the rest of his people, have not. They continue to suffer. Exodus chapter 2, verse 23, "And the children of Israel sighed because of the bondage." They feel helpless, so they're sighing. Because they feel powerless because of the bondage. Right now, you might feel powerless. You might be sighing. You might be feeling a lot of powerlessness. And I want to bring this home into our lives as we begin our Easter fast this Wednesday, February 17th. In the book of Exodus, God's people are in a helpless, powerless situation. But are they really? Because generally speaking, it's only when we find ourselves in a helpless, powerless situation that we do this, what they did. Exodus 2, verse 23, "And they cried out, and their cry for help ascended to God." The primary focus of our Easter fast, which is you choosing to abstain from something you enjoy or from a bad habit you would like to change. I gave you some ideas toward the end of last week's service. Watch that again if you need some help with that. The primary focus of our Easter fast is to focus our attention on Jesus' suffering and death for us, and then when our fast ends, to feel the joy of his resurrection in our own lives. The secondary focus of our fast this year is to cry out to God and pray for his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven by praying the Lord's Prayer each day of our fast. That prayer will be posted online so that our God, Exodus 2, verses 23 and 24, Kevin's paraphrase, hears our cries for help and remembers his covenant with us, his relationship with us, because our world needs Jesus' light, Jesus' love, Jesus' truth. We need it. So I hope you've been praying about what you're going to fast from and join your Holley Church family in this crying out to our God, Jesus. Let's pray together. Jesus, guide each one of us as we determine what to fast from. Strengthen us during this fast, and may we come to understand and know you better. Fill us with your presence. Hear our sighs. We may feel powerless, but you are powerful. Deliver us from evil, and may your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Amen. On your connection card at holleychurch.org, you'll find a spiritual next step for you, which says, I will be fasting from. Would you mark that next step and let me know you're joining in our Easter fast? If you want to keep what you're fasting from between you and the Lord, just put an X there. I don't need to know. But I want to know if you're joining our Easter fast, because if you are, I want to pray for you all throughout this fast. I've got a special Valentine's Day surprise for you. But first, if you'd like to give to support the ministry work of Holley Church, you can do so at holleychurch.org. Just click on the Give tab. Every financial gift is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. All of our giving options are listed on the screen. Now, I had planned on giving away 3 Valentine's date night gifts. 1 to online church, 1 to 9 o'clock in-person church, 1 to 10:30 in-person church. But I thought, sometimes plans change. And I wanted to make this bigger this year. Instead of just blessing 1, 2, 3 of you, I wanted to open up this blessing for more. And at the same time, fulfill our mission as a church to make a difference in our community. So next Sunday, February 21st, we have rented the Sweet Home Rio Theater for a free movie night. Now, this could be a date night for you, or it could be a date night for your family, or it could just be you as a single person. It's for everyone. And the movie will be kid-friendly, age-appropriate. It's going to be a surprise, so don't ask what it is. And also, when you get there, there'll be another surprise gift for you as well. We need to know how many people are going to be attending. So if you're going to attend, to be able to attend, you need to sign up on your connection card at holleychurch.org. You need to let us know how many are planning on attending. And this is also how you'll find out when this movie night is. So make sure to sign up on your connection card at holleychurch.org. Happy Valentine's Day to you, and happy Valentine's Day again to everyone. The worship team has one more song. May the Lord keep you and bless you and protect those of you who are His.
Surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? Friday's disappointment, the Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise makes the dead man walk again. Hope in the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Resurrection power runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the place makes the dead man walk again. Hope in the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that He wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha. Is there anything that He can't do? Just ask the stone that was thrown at the tomb in the garden. What happens when God says to move? I feel Him moving it now. I feel Him doing it now. I feel Him doing it now. Do it now, do it now, yeah. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. is a praise makes the dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is a praise makes a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Yeah. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise makes a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.